Hey everybody, it is tip testing week. I am excited to see what you guys have been able to do. And I'm just excited to get some class going here. So let's get started. Let's come to attention. How do you guys feel today? Awesome, sir. Let's bow. And suck position. Student creed. Student creed, sir. Line 1. I pledge to develop myself in a positive manner. Line 2. I pledge to use what I learn in class constructively and defensively. Line 3. I pledge to foster friendships and contribute to my community. And let's bow. Now, first warm-up today. I'm unfortunately riddled with injuries right now. My captain's been bugging me. I cannot do jumping jacks, but the first warm-up today is supposed to be jumping jack sets around the world. So let me tell you what that would be like. The jumping jack set is using 3 different styles. So we've got first regular jumping jacks. You would do 10 of them. Once you get all 10, you'd be moving into shuffle jacks. So cross the legs over, cross the arms. Normally you would jump for this, out and back, right? Every time you would cross the arms separately or opposite leg behind. Again, you do 10 of those. And then finally, the Nordic jacks, or the robot jacks. One arm up in front, one arm low, 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. You would swap, and every other time, so there. That'd be 1, 2, you get the idea, right? So we do 10 of each, and that would be a set. Now around the world means you're gonna do it once facing each direction. So I do those 10 regular, 10 shuffle, 10 Nordic towards you, then I'm gonna turn to the side here, I'm gonna do the same thing. Once I got through those, to the back, and then to the other side, and once I've gotten all 4 directions, or I've gone successfully around the world, then I'd be done with my jumping jack. So, unfortunately, again, I can't do those for the upcoming ones that I can't do, I'll adjust, but I want you guys to pause, go through that jumping jack set as our first warm-up here, and I'll see you in a second. All right, guys, so next warm-up, I should say. The next warm-up here, we're gonna be alternating between 6 push-ups and 6 sit-ups. Now, I cannot do push-ups either, so I'm going to be substituting a plank for about 6 seconds before I flip into my sit-ups, all right? So we're going 1 minute with this one, so let's get down push-up position. Again, quality over quantity. I would rather you have sharp push-ups and do less total sets than to try and rush through it, have it sloppy, and get through a lot of them, okay? But 6 push-ups, followed up with 6 sit-ups. Again, I'm going to be adjusting. I'm going to be doing planks instead of push-ups, and I'll just count off 6 seconds. So let's get started here. 3, 2, and go. I'm gonna hold this plank nice and sharp here. Again, 6 seconds, about 5 and 6. Then I've got 6 sit-ups to do. 1, getting up as high as we can for these. If you can't quite get all the way up, that's okay. Do what you can to work the ab muscles here. There's 6. I'm gonna plank, and this way I can see my clock. Again, I'm going about 6 seconds. You should be doing 6 push-ups. 5 and 6. There we go. Middle. 6 sit-ups. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Plank time. I'm trying to minimize that downtime. Try to keep myself active and not have any time where I'm just resting and waiting. And sit-up time. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, trying to squeeze the abs every time. 5, 6, and plank time. This will be my last set. We're coming up on that minute. 1, and break. Our next warm-up here is going to be a static horse's stance. So we're going to be in a horse's stance. Our goal is to keep it at the same height for the entire 45 seconds. If you'd like to, you can start throwing some punches. If you'd like to review and see, hey, do you remember the striking set or the blocking set we worked on a couple months ago? This could be a good time to practice it too. So, 45 seconds, static horse's stance. Ready? Sliding horse stance. Ready? Set. I'm gonna give it 2 more seconds, and go. Trying to keep it nice and low here. I'm gonna go ahead and review my striking sets. I know for striking set 1, we did palms. Punches. No, number 1 goal is still keeping myself low here. Elbows, I'm not going to go over. I want to make sure I keep these sharp. And there's knee smashes. For level 2s, you guys might remember this, the striking set 2 with the spears. The ridge hands. And then side to side. Striking set 3, do I remember? Tiger claws. bear claws, shudo double short, shudo double short, shudo double long, and vertical punches. And we've got 2, 1, 0 seconds left. Let's hold a little bit lower. 2, 1, get that extra time in, and break. We'll come back up. All right, everybody, I want you guys to stretch a little bit here as we go through our message of the week. The message of the week in classes here is actually hearing about your guys' favorites. If you'd like to include that in a tip video, I would love to hear. But for now, I'll share with you guys one of my favorites. So, my favorite of all time, I believe it was the first one that I ever heard in classes actually, was the Boulder story. The story of the student who's getting ready for a black belt test, and very apt. We've got a black belt test coming up this Saturday. You'll hear about that in the announcements. But a student getting ready for a black belt test. But this test was a little bit different. The one upcoming in our school is actually a lot different than normal too, so very apt. But a little bit different than normal. Instead of doing any martial arts, this student actually just had to push this boulder up to the top of the hill. That was it. And they tried to do this all day long, but they were never able to get it all the way to the top. Right? They tried all these different strategies, every different thing that they could possibly think of, using different resources around them. The entire time, their instructor was just sitting down next to a tree, drinking some lemonade, relaxing in the so at the end of the day comes around, they go over to their instructor, they say, "Master, I can't do this. I cannot get the boulder to the top of the hill." The instructor asked, "Are you sure?" "Yes, instructor. I've tried everything I can. I've used all my resources and I cannot do it. I'm sorry." And the instructor thinks for a second and looks at the student and just says, "You never asked me for help." And a lot of times we get so caught up in what we need to do that, one, we could overlook strategies that someone else could help us with, or two, it may be a job, it might be a task that needs 2 people, right? So we learn from this, hey, it's not, don't be afraid to ask for help. It is okay to need assistance here and there, to go over to someone and say, "Can you help me out with this," right? So again, the Boulder story, do not be afraid to ask for help. One of my all-time favorites. So I want you to think, at the very least, even if you don't put it in your video, I want you to think about what your favorite message of the week is, and think about how you've used it in the last couple weeks or last couple months, right? Always good to go back and do that. So we got some Muay Thai, we've got some Cinco Tiros today, guys, continuing our work from last week and for tip testing this module. So let's jump right into it, guys. It's time for some Cinco Tiros here. So remember, we've got 1 stick for this curriculum. We've been working on a couple different twirls. So make sure that you've got something that you can use, if you don't have a stick, as a substitute as a stick, right? Whether that's wooden spoon or anything that's kind of in this shape. If you've got a dog and you've got one of those chuckets you can hold on to, right? Get something that kind of looks like a stick so we can get some of these twirls going, all right? So let's go ahead and get started. So remember that the basis for all of these twirls is starting with forward or reverse twirls. So for this first one, let's just real quick review that forward twirl. So if I got the stick up in front of me, remember, since it's in this hand here, that foot on the same side is going to be in front. I'm going to do 5 forward twirls. Forward twirl starts with bringing my palm up, so the tip of the stick points forward, right? Forward twirl. So forward, down, and around. Now, the most important thing is making sure I keep a tight grip on it and making sure it goes the correct direction. Then I'm going to focus on getting the stick in closer to my body, right? And that just takes some time as we get our wrists a little more flexible. But that's my forward twirl. Point it forward, let it go all the way back around. The reverse twirl, or backwards twirl, point the stick backwards, and then finish that circle. Right? So forward and reverse. You can probably tell, at least I can feel it, this is my more dominant side. I'm going to be practicing with this side, trying to work on it. Pick whichever side you're more comfortable with. Now, the first twirl that we started was actually a combination of both of those. It was 5 forward twirls and then 5 reverse twirls. So, since I've got a mat, I'm actually going to get lower with each one, 3, 4, and then after 5, I tap the ground and I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 back up, all right? If you don't, let's say I was at home and I'm not allowed to, right? I'm just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Awesome. So that's the first one. Let me do it one more time up on this opposite side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Excellent. Let's get to the next one. All right, our next twirl here, we're going to trap the stick in our armpit. So again, we're going to start with 5 twirls forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This time, as I come around, I'm going to bring my palm down so that the stick can travel into my armpit here. And now notice, there's a little bit of a gap between my hand and my body, right? There's a stick right through here. I'm gonna take my live hand, I'm gonna push down on the stick so that it flips back out as a strike. Imagine I'm striking towards you, push and strike. There we go. And you'll notice, let's say as I go through this again, in order to make sure the stick doesn't whack me, right? I'm gonna have my elbow flare out a little bit. And that's fine. Even that one, it didn't go very far. You might have heard it hit my leg there. There we go. That way I can bring it out and hit you. And there's one more twirl that was very similar to this, right? I would start with those 5 twirls. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Into the armpit. But this time, I'm gonna grab on with my live hand, bring it out in front of me, and I'm gonna have to do one more thing here. Let's see, can you remember? And I'll give you a quick second. One more very important detail. I'm gonna have to switch my feet, right? If I swapped hands, then I don't want the stick behind me. I'm gonna switch my feet. Normally in Cicloteros, we do that like this. I bring my feet together and then step with the other one. That's called a triangle step. There we go. Let me do it on this side real quick. There's the trap, and then you tap it back out. And then you've got the fast forward there, not do all 5. Switch hands and bring it around. Awesome, guys. Those are the first 3. Again, we had the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We had the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In and out. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In and swap. Awesome. So let's talk about the final twirl, the behind the back. So just like the other ones, this is going to start with 5 forward twirls. Like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, I'm going to take the tip of the stick and point it down. I'm going to bring it all the way back behind my back here, and it should pop out behind my shoulder. Now, if you've got a mirror or a window you can practice in front of so you can see your reflection, that can kind of help to not necessarily look over your shoulder to grab, but you can still see it there. If not, look and grab, right? And the more you practice it, the more comfortable you get with it. You're going to be able to reach back and just grab with your hand, right? Now, the ultra detailed version would be making sure that you've got just the right amount of puño on the stick right here, meaning I'm not grabbing it there, right? But instead, getting to a position where it's comfortable to hold on, right? So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, behind the back, and grab. A little too much puño for my liking, but I like it there, right? I've got a good grip of the stick. Let's do it again. 5 twirls, and this one I would probably start with just one hand, whatever you're more comfortable with. There we go. Now, I believe I gave you guys this piece of advice last week. If not, then one thing that you can do to make it a little more consistent is when I bring this behind my back, it's always going to touch the same spot, right? It's always going to touch the same spot on my back. So right now I feel it right below my shoulder blade. That way it's going to make it a little bit easier to grab. If it changes every time, like right now it's a lot lower, then you can tell, right, it's sticking way out. Or right now it's going right up my spine. If I'm trying to grab it, it's not going to happen. I'm not even sure you can see it. Might have been hidden behind my head. But there we go, right below my shoulder blade, and that should allow me to grab it every single time. So that's my quick hint on that one. Let's do all 4 again before we jump into our Muay Thai. So the first one, that was 5 forward, 5 back. You go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. I already feel I'm getting a little more comfortable with this hand for those backwards twirls. Now we have the trap and we tap it back out. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, in and tap back out. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, in and swap, right? I might have skipped that one. I actually do not even remember. Let's do both of those again, or let me do, if I forgot the first one. I'm pretty sure I did, but 3, 4, 5, in and swap. That's the danger of them being so similar, huh? And then finally, you've got behind the back. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and grab. Excellent. So those are the 4 twirls, guys, that we're going to be looking for in tip testing this module. I hope you guys have had some fun with them. Let's jump into our Muay Thai next. All right, guys, Muay Thai time here. If you've got some gloves you want to put on, I think it just helps me get in the mood of it and make sure my head's in the correct area of like, hey, I'm doing some Muay Thai now. But if you got some, throw some gloves on. If you don't want to, that's okay. Just make sure you're ready for some Muay Thai here. Second thing here, for this week, the combos may be a little bit similar. There might be like 1 or 2 moves changed. Either way, the goal is to just get repetition in terms of practicing those strikes. If jabs, crosses, elbows, shuffle knees, or regular knees, roundhouse kicks, right? Whatever our combo includes, want to make sure we're getting comfortable with those and then trying to incorporate them into some more shadow boxing where it's just any Muay Thai stuff that we know. So let's get into our combos here. Excellent, guys. So combo we get to our Muay Thai marching stance. We're gonna start with our jab and cross. And heads up, I wanna go through the combo relatively quickly, and we're gonna spend just a little bit more time just drilling the combo at our own pace here together, okay? But we start Muay Thai marching stance, jab and cross. Remember, jab is just a fancy word for we're punching with that front hand or that lead hand. So since this foot is closer to you, this hand on the same side is my jab hand. The other one from the back side here is my cross. So jab, cross, elbow, and then knee. And notice that I'm not doing a knee smash. Smash when I bring something else to my knee. I'm just using my knee to strike, okay? So that combo again, jab, cross, elbow, knee. That's the full combo. Jab, cross, elbow, knee. Awesome. We're gonna go 1 minute of this combo. Again, just jab, cross, elbow, and knee. Don't forget, we wanna swap sides for every strike. So if I start on this side, I swap to the other one for my cross. I'm gonna swap for my elbow, and then swap to the other side for that knee. All right, make sure we're continuing to switch. It allows us to use our hips and that rotation to create a little bit more power. So let's get started. 1 minute, ready, set, and go. Remember, this should be at your own pace. You can kind of follow along with me, but I don't want you to try and have to time it exactly to what I'm doing. I want us to move at our own speed, whatever we're comfortable with. Jab, cross, elbow, knee. Jab, cross, elbow, knee. If you're comfortable switching sides, you can, but that's definitely not necessary. I would rather you feel really comfortable on one side than to be kind of uncomfortable on both and kind of be able to do it on both. 10 seconds left. Oh yeah. Trying to speed it up just a little bit as I get a little more comfortable with that combo. Last one. Best one, sir. And break. Now that we've had a chance to practice that combo, I want to give us 1 more minute to include it in some shadow boxing. So shadow boxing, you imagine that you're sparring, fighting somebody else in front of you. Imagine you're boxing against a shadow, right? So any Muay Thai moves that you know, whether it's from the combo we just did or from classes prior, right? You're gonna have a different array of moves to pull up from what you know. Let's just have some fun with it, okay? You got 1 minute here, Muay Thai style shadow boxing. Ready, set, and go. Elbow. Maybe I know my knee. Maybe I just wanted to throw like a roundhouse kick real quick, right? This is completely up to you. Maybe you remember doing our jab, cross, juke, and cross. Depends how long you've been training. It depends how many Muay Thai sections you've been through. Hooks, uppercuts. Only include stuff that you've worked on in class though. If you've seen something on YouTube, we've seen something somewhere else, I guess with the exception of the karate YouTube channel, right? Don't include it right now, just worry about stuff you've done in class. Jab, cross. I'm gonna juke and cross. Awesome. Jab, 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 cross. Hook, uppercut, there we go. Just kind of moving around, make sure that you're throwing some sharp strikes, keeping the hands up, keeping a good Muay Thai stance. Jab, cross, elbow, uppercut, and break. Excellent job with the Muay Thai today, guys. There we go. Make sure I don't mix up today in Muay Thai. Excellent work with it today. It's been a blast to work on. It is tip testing week this week, so make sure you get those videos recorded and upload it on the Discord here. Or if you can't get to it yet this week, you can always do the makeup next week, just again submit it in the same spot. Other announcements. This Saturday the 5th, there are unfortunately no classes in the school. That's because we have a black belt test coming up. This is actually the first one since last year. We had some students getting ready to test way back in March and April, May time, and fortunately that wasn't able to happen, right? So they got a test coming up, and the only way we can do that is not have classes. So no classes this Saturday, but looking forward to starting a new module next week. So look forward to that, guys. That is it. Let's come to attention, and let's bow out. Class dismissed.